Hello everybody. In my last video you saw me working on the ear, the hairs in the ear and a bit here of my a cute little sleepy fox pen drawing. In this video I'm gonna try to wrap it up and show you how I do that. There's some details here in the wood. He's lying on like a wooden floor or whatever it is. So I want to like make the indication of a wooden floor, and I also have to work a bit on the contrast here and there. So just want to show you how I do that. In my last video I told you I was working mainly with strokes, making strokes, very smooth strokes like that. I hold the pencil at quite an angle like that, not straight up because then you get like really thick, dark strokes. You have to hold it a bit at an angle, so you have more control over it. You can see it like that, and you just have to let the weight of the pen do the work, and not press hard. Then you get that. So there we go. Almost finished with it. So I'm just gonna work a bit on the wood here. I'm not gonna make that too detailed. It's just gonna be an indication of wood. The boards go in that direction, so I make strokes in that direction. Here it's a bit darker in between the two wooden. So I'm just use dots also. I'm dotting here. Just making dots. This to be quite dark, so then I will hold it more straight. The pen. Here's a little bit of details. Here's a bit more detail. You have to work in the direction of the grains of the wood. I thought it was nice to make drawings to make a few smaller drawings. I always work very large pencil drawings of about 18 by 24 inch, and they of course cost a lot of time, and so I thought it was nice to work on a bit of smaller drawings, so they could get some more drawings made. Here, where the first meeting the wood, you make it really dark because you want a shadow right there. It's not a drawing like very detailed. This is like the edge of the drawing, so it's more about the fox. It's not about. You can practically see the wood that he's lying on as the background, so you don't want that to stand out too much. It's always good to practice these things on a separate sheet first. Also, when you buy a new pen, even if you have a pen of exactly the same brands, the feel of it might be different. I always use a separate sheet first to, okay, how does this pen feel, and how should I hold it? So it's always good to practice on a separate sheet first to do that, to get used to your pen. This is a Staedtler. I also use Staedtler pencils, and this is a Staedtler pen, pigment liner of 0.05 is the point. It's one of the thinnest you can get. You see that I'm even going against the direction of the fox fur, but that's just to create a slight shadow. That's, as you can see it, I do it very light. You'll hardly see it. Always when you make a drawing, whether it's colored pencil or pen or regular pencil, you want your subject to stand out, and so the subject you want to make like really detailed. If you make the background details then as well, then people are gonna be confused. Okay, what is this about? We want your subject to stand out, so to make your the background blurry or a lot less detailed. It's also what photographers do. You see that in photos, if they photograph something, then they have the thing that's important, or the person or the subject, and they have it very sharp, and the rest is blurry. And yeah, so that the subject is really standing out. I still have a bit to do here on the fox. I almost constantly say wolf. I don't know why. It looks a little bit like a baby wolf as well, I think. So that's just a little bit here. I'm gonna do it very, very light. this is supposed to be very light, so I don't want that to wreck the drawing. Sometimes I even find this scary when you have a big part of your drawing done already and you still have to add a few things, and it would be a huge waste, of course, to wreck it. And sometimes I even do like things that, okay, that doesn't look all that wonderful. I'm actually my own hardest critic. I'm not satisfied easily with my own drawings, not at all. And there's even quite a lot of my drawings that I think, okay, I'm not even that happy with it. Yeah, I'm keeping this very light because yeah, I don't want to ruin it. A bit blurry also because it's in the background of the fox. The lightest stuff is of course the most difficult, since you're working with ink and ink is just like extremely black. So it's very easy to yeah, to ruin it. Okay, here it can be darker again behind the ear. When you start a drawing, it's always good to start with the darkest part first, so that you get the feeling of it, and it starts to feel more natural. Even when you already started the drawing, but the next day you start working again, just start with the darker part so that you can get into it and it starts feeling natural, and then work on lighter stuff. Don't start with lighter stuff. At least that's not what I do, because yeah, it just feels like your hand needs to warm up again to the and get used to the movements, and since the lighter stuff is more difficult to do, it's just good to keep that for when you're yeah, I've been working on it for well, at least a few minutes. Never drew a fox before. I think it would be nice to also draw one in colored pencil. I find foxes are pretty cute. It would be nice to draw one in colored pencil. Sometimes that still happens to me when you make a mistake. When you do something too dark, then it's very tempting, or to think that I'll just fix it by keep going over the same spot that you just messed up. But the opposite is what you have to do. Let's say, for example, I make a huge mistake here. Oh, oops, that's too dark. So then, at least what would feel natural to me to do is like, oh, I'm just gonna go over it and then try to fix it. But then, of course, you make it only darker. And so what you have to do is make it blend in. You go like right next to it, and you try to not touch that spot at all, and just go around it. And then make it blend in with the background so that it doesn't stand out so much. Like that. I think this fox is like really enjoying the sun. It almost looks out that he's been knocked out or so, like but I think he's just enjoying the sun. Doing some chilling. So I'm just doing this very lightly. I don't want to mess it up after all the work. I'm getting pretty close to the edge of the paper here. I did do some drawings of trees in the past. Also, I'm just gonna turn around because otherwise I have to be working in a very unnatural position. Trees, the bark of the tree is a bit of a different technique since it's just not fur, so. And I'll show you that as well, how to do that. Still has to be a bit darker, all of this here. It's almost like just coloring it in, like you're holding like a colored pencil drawing and just color it in like that, but do in the direction of the fur, which the fur is going. It doesn't have to be even either. Okay, I'm gonna make this a little bit more darker here. This here, I'm gonna have this a little bit more. When it's darker, I just hold the pencil, the pen a little bit more straight up. Sometimes it's, often I find it actually easier to work with a pen that's older, that doesn't work all that well anymore, because then it's like you have more control over the ink, because not a lot of ink comes out at once. And then, yeah, it just feels like you have more control over what you're doing, and you don't have the risk that much to make it too dark at once. And when you have a new pen, then, yeah, you can see the difference, that how much ink comes out at once, and it's a lot easier to make a mistake that way, to make something too dark. I just want to create more the sense of fur here, instead of made it all a bit too even. And I want to not make it too even. Here's a bit darker. I always use photos as a reference. Often more than one. Sometimes only one, often more than one. Sometimes I use a photo, half of it I use a photo, half of it I use like my memory, or from previous drawings I've done. And be careful where you get your photos. There's a website called Pixabay, where you can get some photos that you don't have to worry about copyright. If you get any other photos from the internet, just if you Google something, then there's copyright laws, and you have to be careful with using those and then sell your drawings, especially if you make it very photorealistic and it's really recognizable. Okay. Let's go back to the wood for a while now, for a bit. I was holding it too straight up. Pencil, the pen. I'm so used to draw with pencil that I always say pencil. I think I'm happy with this side. I'm not going to touch that anymore, because I don't think so. I'm also going to do a bit like this. Yeah, a lot of the techniques with pen is just strokes, making strokes. Dots, also in the nose I've been doing dots. That's yeah, a big part of it is strokes. A little bit darker when it gets closer to the fox. You just can see that I do it pretty roughly. I'm not putting like too much like effort or so into this. Okay, well I think this little fox is almost finished. I might just do a little bit of touch-ups here and there, but first, when I pretty close to finish a drawing, or when I think I finished a drawing, I'm just gonna leave it for a day, and then the next day I take a fresh look at it, and then I say, okay, maybe something still needs to be done about it or not. And sometimes it's just good to take a step back and just let it sit, and then take a fresh look the next day. So this was it. I hope you enjoyed this video. Give me a thumbs up if you did. Subscribe to my YouTube channel to stay updated about my latest videos. Thank you very much for watching, and I wish you a great day. Bye!